COVID-19, ways to avoid getting infected by it. According to World Health Organization, coronavirus disease or COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus. It is caused by novel coronavirus now called Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus 2 or SARS-CoV-2, formerly called 2019 nCoV. The first identified case of the virus was in Wuhan City, China. If one experienced fever, shortness of breath, and cough, then one should already go to hospital and have you checked because those are the symptoms that can determine if one is positive or negative by conducting a series of tests. When this happens, one should isolate his or herself so that the people around you won't be affected and wait for further instructions from the healthcare providers. COVID-19 can be transmitted through direct contact with an infected person and droplets of it, generated through coughing and sneezing. That's why it is recommended to cough or sneeze using the bent elbow to prevent the droplets from spreading. Due to this, places here in our country has a health protocol that is being followed too, and the government made it mandatory for an individual to always wear face mask and face shield when going outside and to put alcohol when touching something. Since the affected individual is increasing more as day passed, the government made places here in our country to place them under enhanced community quarantine, modified community quarantine, general community quarantine. According to a website, thecarpolaw.com, the difference between those are enhanced community quarantine requires two movement regardless of age and health status, minimal economic activity except for utility services like food, power and water, and the critical economic sectors, no transportation activity except for utility services, and suspension of physical classes. Modified community quarantine requires limited movement within the containment zone for obtaining essential services and work, operations of selected manufacturing and processing plants up to maximum of 50% workforce, limited transportation services for essential goods and services, and suspension of face-to-face class. General community quarantine requires limited movement, services, and work within buffer zone to maximum of 75% workforce. Limited transportation services to support government and private operations and flexible learning arrangements, operations at limited capacities to cater to students. While modified general community quarantine requires permissive socio-economic activities with minimal public health standards. Summing up this, ECQ is critical zone, MECQ is containment zone, GCQ is buffer zone, and MGCQ is outside buffer zone. In placing some places in the country to these categories, there are government officials guarding those places to monitor who enters and leaves the place and made them fill up some forms for contact tracing. In this implementation, every place in our country follows a guidelines to prevent the virus from spreading to an alarming rate. People who are prone to the virus are those people whose immune system is weak and those elderly individuals. They are the ones who are in high risk. That is why they really have to properly take care of themselves. Drinking vitamins that can boost one's immune system, eating nutritious foods, getting enough sleep, and exercising adequately will be a great help in fighting unwanted viruses. There are safety measures one can do to keep them safe and to get away from harmful viruses, especially against COVID-19. Regularly wash your hands with soap and put alcohol with 70% solution. Maintain a 1 meter social distancing between you and other people. Avoid touching your face, especially if you used it to hold something. Cover your mouth and nose when sneezing and coughing, or use your elbow in doing so. If ever you feel that something is off about you and you're not feeling well, isolate yourself from others or just stay at home and avoid going outside. Restrain yourself from doing activities that can weaken your immune system. Instead, do something that will make it strong enough to counteract viruses. Thus, We really have to take good care of our body to keep viruses from infecting us because COVID-19 is an extremely threatening disease that once affected, the people around us, especially our loved ones, are affected too. In order for this not to get affected, one must follow the health protocols the government implemented when going outside for a reason that it is for our own good and for the people around us.